Therefore, you must be ready, for we do not know when the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. Dear friends, today's readings invite us to reflect over how do I prepare or look carefully in order to welcome the Lord in our life. I have taken the theme, Be Prepared to Serve the Lord. The readings of today are mostly referring to one's own personal and individual perspective. In today's gospel, we see where Jesus Christ is speaking about the last day, a day of judgment, a day of surprise and a day of separation over good and bad. Therefore, you and I have to look carefully and waiting and watching for the coming of the Lord. While I being encountered the Lord in my life, therefore, while being watchful and waiting for the coming of the Lord, we are encountered, and while being encountered with the Lord must be pleased to see us. In today's readings, which I have taken the theme, Be Prepared to Serve the Lord, I would like to reflect in two parts. In the first, being prepared. How do I prepare myself to welcome the Lord or encounter the Lord in my life? We should not be like that of an unfaithful servant, but we have to be like the faithful servant who keeps himself doing his responsibilities faithfully, and the master sees him doing so faithful all his duties and entrusts to his care all the major responsibilities and authorities. Dear friends, watching and waiting are the two Christian characteristics of a true discipleship, and one of the greatest qualities that a true Christian or a believer should have, looking for the coming of the Lord in his life. Dear friends, what is that makes us to look for coming of the Lord, and how do I prepare to welcome the Lord in my life? These things will reflect while I do my responsibilities in a proper way, in a proper manner, while rendering justice to others, showing kindness, being compassionate and lovable to our own neighbors, and walking humbly with God. In today's gospel, we see where the faithful servant does his works so faithfully and all his responsibilities, and found favor from the master and given the opportunity to be the master over the major possessions. While the unfaithful servant who thinks to himself that his master's coming is delayed and does his own work, and the result we see that the unfaithful servant is punished. Here I am reminded of an incident in the Old Testament where the coming of Moses from Mount Sinai after the encounter with God the Yahweh, he sees the people of Israel making the idol gods and worshipping them with the help of his cousin brother Aaron. Here I am reminded of an incident in the Old Testament when Moses comes down after the encounter with God Yahweh on the covenant relationship. Moses finds that the people of Israel making their own gods and worshipping with the help of Aaron, and which makes the God Yahweh to be furious and punish the people of Israel for their idol worship. Today we are challenged that how do I prepare myself or make worthy to receive the Lord in my life? And secondly, how often I look for the coming of the Lord in my life. In the first reading, we see St. Paul telling his brother Sosthenes and others, wait for the revealing of the Lord, who is the sustainer till the ends of the earth, who is the source of all knowledge, all power. St. Paul tells his brothers have a kind of a relationship which makes them going forward in their life. Today we are challenged that how do I prepare myself in order to welcome the Lord firstly, and secondly, how often I look for the coming of the Lord or the intervention of the Lord in my life. The first reading we see St. Paul telling his brother Sosthenes and others at Corinth, Wait for the revealing of the Lord, who is the sustainer of life till the ends of the earth. Jesus being the source of all knowledge and all power. In the second part, I would like to reflect serving the Lord. How do I serve the Lord in my life? While by being faithful, watching and waiting for the coming of the Lord. For us Christians, doing the works, all the small works in a faithful manner, may keep us or lead us to be responsible and faithful in larger and major things. Today, it is an invitation for you and me to reflect over both the readings, especially on the Gospel. How do I live my life like that of a faithful servant, so faithful in his works and duties, responsibilities, and doing according to the will and plan of God. Today, the Church celebrates the memorial of Monica, a greatest saint and inspiration for all the Christian mothers. By her prayers, we see the conversion of St. Augustine. She prayed so ceaselessly and continuously for the conversion of her beloved son, St. Augustine, while being watching and waiting for the intervention of the Lord Master in her son's life. And she is a model and example for every Christian mother. Today, it is an invitation for all of us that watching and waiting are the two Christian characteristics which makes ourselves closer and constant relationship with one's own self, to God and our own neighbors.